welcome back to another episode of the Roundball podcast. Soon we're gonna have to take Jordan's name out. This man, he had a lot of traveling. He's in the G League. Everybody, people, you give him some shit, but the G League sounds like it's exhausting how much traveling this bastard's doing. And he didn't. We're all recording. I changed the recording this time, so it's not technically his fault, but he's not here. It's me and Hunter. Uh, this this episode, this podcast is presented by High Noon Hard Seltzer. It's the best hard seltzer in the game. It's real vodka. It's real juice. Presented by myself, who is probably the biggest fan of High Noon's. A guy who doesn't love a lot of drinks at the bar. Like, I'm a shot type of guy, and if I need a drink, I have a High Noon in my hand because it looks cool. The can's fantastic. They even have tequila seltzers now. They just came out with a new brand in tequila seltzers. They're taking over the drink game. So go get your High Noon Hard Seltzer at Drizzly or your local liquor store. All right. We're joined here by Hunter. Today's episode, we have an unreal guest, Mike Brey from Notre Dame for at least one more game. Basically, it was like, yeah, I'm out on Notre Dame, but we'll see what happens. It was a great interview. We haven't had a guest in a while, and that was a perfect person to have. He seems like just like a really nice guy.
Yeah, I mean he's a DeMatha man, Marty. DeMatha man.
Did you ever think of going there when he was recruiting you?
Yeah, I mean they were a top four school for me. If my teammate Justin Moore would have went there, I probably would have ended up there. He wanted, I mean, obviously he went to Villanova, but if he would have went there, I probably would have went there. But
Was Nova a chance for you or no?
nah. They they didn't. Jay Wright said he always loved me, but they never recruited me, and I was mad at it. Like when I was in high school, so I'm like, why are they not recruiting me? Like they just got Justin. Like I feel like, but then I'm like, I'm not a Villanova big man, so it's like,
No, you are not a Villanova
yeah.
big man.
The more I've matured, I'm like, well, it wasn't the place for me.
It is funny when Jay Wright was like saying your name during the broadcast, and he's like, "Yeah, I recruited him." And I was like, "No, you didn't."
I mean,
he might have recruited you, just not to talk to you.
yeah. That's fair. He definitely talked to my AU coaches, definitely, but and maybe my high school coach, but never.
Oh, maybe we should reach out to him.
I was actually thinking about that when you brought that up. That wouldn't be a bad. That's probably possible.
We should reach out to him after this. And for the listeners, Mike Brey did tell Hunter basically to text Coach K for me, and Hunter's too much of a bitch and scared to. But I'm gonna make you do it one day, just one day.
I don't want to get my number blocked, Marty. So just it's
But why have a number if you're never gonna use it?
because I could. There's always that possibility if I could.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so what's going on, man? Let me tell you something. My life would have been fantastic if um my Duke team, the Blue Devils, are playing unbelievable.
Big
They
win,
really
big
are.
win.
They're playing great basketball. They found out what's going on. They figured it out. Beat UNC twice this year. My life's great. But then I have a friend who's a 7-foot fuck and just makes me watch Michigan. For people that don't understand, I'm not just sucking the guy's dick. The man and Michigan are playing good basketball. They are. You went 6-2 in February. You should have honestly went 7-1. Purdue, you should have lost that game. They played better than you guys.
We played Purdue in February,
Yeah.
so we're 7-3.
No, you were
We
six
didn't
and
play
two in
Did we
February.
play Purdue in February?
Yeah, you were 6-2 in February. You lost to Indiana and Purdue.
Illinois.
Illinois was in March.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Believe me, I know you. I know your team better than you. I'm on the bubble watch every day. Um, But you guys are playing good basketball. You're playing 2 teams that I actually think Illinois is better than Indiana. I truly do. Um, Indiana just Indiana just, like, it's harder to play at in Indiana. Um, but let's start with Illinois. I mean, first overtime, you should have won. You shouldn't
Yeah,
you shouldn't have you were kind of lucky to get into overtime.
yeah.
Not lucky, you obviously got there, but you were down, but you were up, what, 5 or 7 in overtime?
7 with, like, I think, like, a minute
If I
40.
had a fucking quarter every time you guys were up late in the game and I'd at least have a dollar, I can tell you that.
You'd be able to probably go to Creed, the
Yeah.
movie, the new movie, yeah, probably go to Creed.
Um, yeah, you're up 7 in overtime, like, what the fuck, man? What do you think the problem is? Because you those are 2 games. You literally 2 overtimes, it goes your way both times. You're comfortably in the tournament right now.
Oh my god, we'd be trying to fight for freaking, like, a 9 seed.
Yeah, no, you 100% could, and, like, the thing is, what's frustrating, we talked to Mike Brey, they haven't even been close to teams. Like, it's not like I'd almost rather be like, "Oh, we're just bad." You guys literally can make a run in March, and you might not even get to March.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, at this point, the losses are just so numbing. Like, not, like, in terms of, like, you don't care,
Yeah.
but just in terms of, like, it's hard to really get so down on them because it's like it's just like watching. I've made this analogy. It's like being in that movie where there was a movie where this guy, like, he dies, but then he comes back to life and has to try to, like, just keep doing it over and over again and trying to change the future, but nobody will listen to him. Like, there's like a bomb that's like they're running into, like, a sacrifice. And it's like the guy just knows it, but nobody will believe him, so he just keeps on dying, coming back, dying, coming back, dying. It's essentially like that, where it's just like it's the same thing over and over again, and it's like, yeah, it's just hard. Like, obviously, after the game, it's just like, oh my god, like, it's just demoralizing. But then afterwards, you're just so numb to it now because
True.
like you're saying, like, we're playing good enough to win. It's like we're not losing by like 10, 12 points. We're we lost by 2 in overtime, and we lost by like 4 in overtime to Illinois. It is just the pain is there, but it's getting numbed.
The good thing is that you have it's all in your hands. You're on the bubble still. It's not like you're totally out where you need to win the Big Ten
We have a
championship.
last breath. We're not dead yet, Marty. We're not dead.
No, you're not. You're playing a team that you've beaten at their place where it's hard to beat them at, and you beat them pretty comfortably. They are also on a skid that they lost to Minnesota, Northwestern. They're struggling. They're also fighting for a tournament because if they lose to you, they're probably out.
That is
Or
crazy. I remember seeing Geo Baker talk about it, like, literally like 3 days ago. Like, Rutgers is a lock. Well, he was essentially saying, like, everything has to go wrong for them not to be in the tournament. He's like, we'd have to lose to Minnesota, lose at home to Northwestern, and lose our first game of the Big Ten tournament. Which, I mean, probably could happen, and I'm expecting it to happen, obviously, because of the team they're playing in the tournament. But, like, that would be insane of a
yeah,
class.
no, it'd be tough for them. They were at like an 8 seed to
Yeah,
be out. Um, I mean, they still might have a chance because they're like first 4 buys right now, I think, where they are on the bubble. But this is do or die for both you, basically. How does that feel? Is it like, does it feel like you have nothing to lose where it's like, fuck it, we're going out there? Or obviously you have something to lose. That's where I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the mindset?
yeah. For me, I mean, with in terms of just being at Michigan, I feel like there's a standard of excellence, and that, like, there's a standard of everybody knows that we should be in the tournament, but like we're having a bad season, so like that's why everybody's trying to make fun of us. So there's a standard of us kind of, I'd say, playing with desperation instead of playing like, or playing with our backs against the wall. I'd say instead of playing with nothing to lose, because nothing to lose would be a team like,
Minnesota.
yeah, or like a team that people don't expect to be in the tournament, but like they're having a good enough season where like they're out like if Penn State was,
Nebraska.
yeah, like if Penn State was in our position, well, I guess they kind of are because they're on the bubble. But like if they were, if they needed like to win 2 games here to get into the tournament, then they would be playing for nothing. Like they would be having nothing to lose. But for us, I think it's more of a backs against the wall. Like us, UNC, teams that are like expected to make the tournament and just not having good years, I think are playing with more of a backs against the wall types approach instead of, like you said, playing nothing to lose.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I was. We were talking about this before because if you won yesterday, would you be a 3 seed?
I think we would have been the 2.
You've been the 2.
At worst, the 3, but I think we would have been the 2.
Like weirdly, this is what I was talking about. Like obviously, you want to win yesterday and you want the double bye, but like getting a Rutgers win and then getting a Purdue win, you're in. So it's like all you got to do is win 2 games in 2 days, and you'll play at 12 o'clock each day.
Yeah, yeah, I know that.
I actually think that's better for you guys. I don't know. I have a good feeling. I know I'm obviously biased, and you are too, but I have a good feeling that it's not a bad place to be. It's not a bad place to be, and
Yeah,
I
we could have
think
been in a worse spot. Could have
with
been.
your play, you know that you can win, you can do it. So, anything come from Illinois? Anything come from Indiana? Anyone say anything?
Oh yeah, no, I mean a lot of rave reviews about the podcast. I mean, it's essentially everywhere I go now. Everybody hates me, which I mean, like it.
They don't even hate you. It's just like you're the person they can at least like every fan wants to hate someone on another team.
I think Illinois might hate me.
Illinois definitely does. Did what they just said the podcast sucks?
Yeah, I mean, people in Bloomington just took my quote just totally out of context.
Oh my god, I didn't remember you said you that was the most non quote ever.
I mean, it was a quote, but it wasn't directed towards. I said the people that live in Bloomington. Like, if you go to Indiana, I feel like nobody. I mean, obviously, I don't know, but like, I feel like a lot of the people that go to Indiana aren't from Bloomington.
Bro, what'd you say? You just said there was some
I said the
weirdos?
people that live in Bloomington, there are some weirdos that live there, and that is
Like,
true.
but
Like, because I went to Indiana over the summer, um, for I think like 2 days, and it was not the best of neighborhoods for sure. That's why I said there's some weirdos out there. I wasn't talking about the students of Indiana.
yeah, but like who cares? Like these people, you say that's almost like whatever comment to me. Like I didn't even remember you said that, and I saw people write an article. I'm like, God, these guys will pull anything from this
Yeah,
fight.
no, people want any reason just to be upset nowadays. I mean, if you just look at anything in the news, people will just.
So what
I
are they?
swear, that's why I think that's why Twitter's so big, Mike, because you can get offended, like, without even trying on Twitter. Like, you can literally look up anything you want to get offended. Because
What are these people saying to you?
I mean, no, like I remember before the game, I was so hungry because like I was just so hungry. I was I was like, bro, I'll eat anything right now. So I went to the snack stand real quick and got some peanut M and M's, and
At
there
the
was
game,
yeah.
you went to the snack stand when there's
Well, well,
students.
they had like a snack stand like underground, like on the floor level, and so I went to there and got some peanut M and M's, and there was a lot of Illinois fans there, and they were taking pictures, and nobody said anything. And actually, people were like like, oh, we're big fans, big fans. So it's like when you see them in person,
Oh, they're always like saying they'll always say that no one's gonna actually chirp you like unless they're in the stadium where it's like okay to, but like When
or
it's
if they're
very
like
more
super
personal, they
drunk,
won't say anything.
or if they're just super hammered.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean it. It is kind of like, I mean, I really don't. I really hope people don't think like they're getting into my head, because I'm just so numb at this point from everything.
You
Where
can't.
it's like, well, like I was already like, I already didn't care. Like I already was like, you can yell at me and say whatever, but it's like I'm just so numb now. It's like they were shooting free throws, and it's like, Hunter, you suck. Like Hunter, your podcast sucks. Hunter, some. I'm just like,
I think people saying the podcast sucks is endearing to me.
yeah, no. People at Illinois, they're like, your podcast sucks at the word. I'm like, you definitely listen though.
Yeah, like,
Listen,
like,
you've listened.
telling me that you know about my podcast is only making me like it more.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any no ever they just getting mad at you, and no one's saying anything about me? That's good for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I'm just so numb to it now, Marty. It's
You
like,
probably don't even remember half the things people say to you.
yeah, because I'm so locked in. Well, like the only time they're able to say anything to me is like during breaks where it's like a free throw or something like that. Because during the game, like I'm not hearing anybody.
You don't hear anything, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's also, like, hard to care when you drop 30 points on them, like, it's obviously you lost and it sucks, but what can they possibly say when you drop 30?
well, I mean, they still get into my mentions, and then I had this one college basketball site. They like posted a picture of me being like Hunter Dickinson is 0-5 versus Illinois, I think maybe.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, 0-4, 0-4 versus Illinois. Yeah, I know that sucks. 0-4 versus Illinois, and they wanted to say like Hunter NIT Dickinson. I was like, that's pretty wild to say when I have probably more Big Ten wins than like most of the conference combined.
You also have more tournament wins than
I mean,
anything
yeah,
else has
sorry,
done.
sorry, more tournament wins than most of the conference combined since I've been here. So I think that's a pretty wild statement. But that
No,
just goes back
they
to
just
my
try
point
and
earlier.
pounce on and it,
Yeah,
like,
no, that goes to my point earlier, where it's like we're not playing for nothing to lose, because everybody expects us to be really good. Like when you have NIT chants coming from Illinois and Indiana, like that means you've been good for so long that people are shocked to see you so bad. So it's like, you kind of like, you obviously don't feel good about them, but it's like, yeah, like everybody knows we're supposed to be doing better than what we are.
yeah, and you're supposed to be doing better anyway, so it's like,
Yeah, they're not saying NIT to freaking Nebraska.
yeah, and speaking, Nebraska couldn't sneak their way in a couple wins here.
Yeah, I would love if they got into the tournament. I feel like they deserve it so bad.
Dude,
The
they
the
just
way they
beat
play down the
Iowa.
stretch, the way
They
they
just
play down the stretch, I love.
beat Rutgers, like, they're beating these teams. Alright, we don't need yeah, because we don't need to harp on all the losses. We know you guys lost twice in overtime, which you should have won. That last play, well, why did Kobe threw it to you when there's 3 people in front of you with your back turned?
Yeah,
You that's just what happens.
yeah.
At
I
that
just,
point, it's like, "Kobe, you gotta shoot the ball." Like, you're not gonna be able to shoot that.
well, I looked at the play. I mean, when there's 3 seconds left, or I think there was 4.1. Like you can't fault anybody for.
No, no, it's not like nothing. It's just like at that point, it's like, and I don't know. Kobe's like probably your second option there, where it's like, oh, just go with it. Like you're running, just go with it. It just sucks because Race
Well, I mean,
Thompson
like,
really didn't
I,
want to end that game.
yeah, like the only reason why I was running, like I was trying to run to get to the 3 point line, and like there was some, like it felt so congested by me that I didn't think that he was going to pass. I mean, in hindsight, like, which is so easy to say because it's like looking back on it and seeing the replay, like T Will was probably the pass to make, because he was open to the left, like he was to the left of me. Like if he would have swung it like to T Will, he was probably the open pass to make. But I mean, you can't say that.
No, you
It's
can't
so
say
easy to say after the fact because it's like, I mean, that's what people like want to do in like the NBA, and like I see it on TikTok all the time with these people who are like, oh, like he made this play when he should have made this play. Like it's so easy to say that.
foresight. It's Monday morning quarterback, like just saying like everything that should like oh had this not happened. It's like well, it's totally different. There's 4 seconds left. You got no game plan. It's like you don't even know if he's going to make the free throw or
Yeah,
whatever.
and Austin, I think I heard Austin Rivers talking about it. He's actually been pretty funny. He's
He's
talking
been
about,
very funny.
yeah, he was talking about like basically everybody who plays basketball sucks because you're not like a professional, which is true. If you think you're anyway halfway decent at basketball, you couldn't even go to like a JV game and be good. I think,
Yeah.
but he was saying like the speed of the game too. Like it's not only just oh he's got to make like oh I could make that read, but like you have to make that read in the speed of the game, like in the flow of the game. Like people don't realize how fast the game is moving. Like you got to make split seconds as decisions, like boom, 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 and it's even faster in the NBA, but it's super fast in college where it's like if you like if you're in help defense, if you're the low man under the basket and the guy gets beat up top, you have like a second to react to get over there, or else you're gonna get dunked on or the blocking foul or something like that. Like these decisions you have to make super rapidly.
Let me tell you something. As a fan who just gets to not just to watch, it is very easy to talk shit when I never have to back it up, ever. Like, I never have to go on that court, and I never have to say I just have to have an opinion and let people like it or love it, and I could say, "You suck." I could say anyone's but that's what's scary about the internet. It's just the media can talk about whatever the fuck they want and never have to back it up. But you guys just have to take it and then but you do have the chance to dummy people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and it doesn't matter like what I do in a game. Like if we lose, like it doesn't really
Well,
matter.
that's where I wanted to get to real fast. Okay, you scored 31 points, right? 31?
Yeah, 31-15. Like
31-15 against Illinois. It, you didn't do anything. You couldn't have done anything more. People still come after you. You have to drop 50 for people to not. You go
they
10 of
still think that.
17. You go 10 of 17 against Indiana. People saying Trace Jackson Davis like owns you. He shot the ball 24 times.
21. He was 10 for 21.
That's a that's a lot. Like that's just and you have a double double. It's like, but that's what I think just that's what comes with the territory. Like that's like LeBron scores 45 and the Lakers lose. People are like, oh, LeBron's lost it. It's like that's just what people think of. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, but it's kind of fair because it's like you know stats are for I guess I think it's Bill Belichick. Basically saying stats are for losers.
Yeah,
Like
you still lost.
yeah, like it's like you lost at the end of the day. Like yeah, you can score 50, but it's like because it's like I mean I don't want to like throw any shade, but it's like the guy from he played at Detroit Mercy actually near here. He's like second in scoring, but it's like he never won anything, so it's like but he's got all these points, which is
And
like
it's
I
like
mean
who remembers? Like people remember winning instead of the points.
yeah, I mean that's a super crazy accomplishment for him, and he should be super proud. Kind of mad. I mean, uh, speaking of that, real quick, I was kind of happy he didn't get it because I feel like the Pistol Pete one should just be forever number one scoring
I agree.
just because he did it. I
So
think
much shorter time, bro.
I'm trying to figure out what's more impressive here. Is it the 3 years or the no 3 point line?
I think the no 3 point line. I really do.
I think it's probably the 3 years. I think it has to be the 3 years because it's like the 3 point line. How many points is he actually? How many points is it actually like raising? It's probably
Yeah,
raising maybe like 5 points a game. So if you think about it, that's probably like eh, I'd say probably he probably make three threes a game. So probably 3 points a game. You factor that, and that's 30 points. So it's probably 180 extra points for 3 years. That's like so. That's
that's still
three,
fucking crazy, man. I don't even know what
five,
math you
four.
just did.
That's an extra 540 points he's scoring. But if
I
you
don't
give him
know
another year,
how. There's no way that math you just did was right.
No, 3. So if you well, it's kind of rough math. You got to. I said 3 points, an extra 3 points a game, and say they played 30 games because that's like a pretty good estimate. Yeah, no, that math is wrong because it'd be. Sorry, guys. Sorry, my Michigan. I failed Michigan here. That'd be
Bro,
90.
the thing is, I can't, I'm not going
No,
to be able to
it would
correct
be
you.
270 points because it'd be 3 times 30, which is 90, times 3 seasons, 270. Sorry, that was bad. That was bad of me. My bad. My bad.
Hey,
But
you just doubled it.
yeah, and I think the 3 years is more impressive. So I'm glad that that record stayed because I think people really truly don't realize how crazy that
Yeah,
record.
no, I agree with you.
But
Um,
back to the point about winning, like yeah, like winning obviously like would I trade 10 points in each game to win? Absolutely. If I would have scored only 20 and only scored 14, but we won those two games, I would have taken only scoring 8 points and winning. But I mean, that just comes with the territory of guys. If you lose, you're going to hear a lot of hate
yeah,
because of
no matter what.
the situation.
Um, all right, so everyone knows Michigan win two. You're basically in Thursday, 12 o'clock. I will be doing a show and then and watching. I think I might even just stream myself watching you
Marty, if
guys.
we if we win that game, what would it take for you to come to that game versus Purdue?
Dude, I would love to come, bro. I would love to. I don't know if
That might be our only hope.
maybe, yeah, I'm 2-0.
That's what I'm saying, Marty. We might have to pull some strings for you to get down here.
Might have to. Um, but yeah, you guys, that's the story for you guys. We're gonna let's talk before we talk about the next subject. I want to talk to you guys about Busker Irish Whiskey. I did a commercial for them. They're great people. The whiskey's very, very smooth. The Busker Triple Cask Triple Smooth is an extraordinary blend with extraordinary smoothness. This is new to world. Irish whiskey is born out of a modern Ireland where the contemporary and bold meet the tradition. Be bold or busk with Busker. The Busker offers authenticity of a top quality Irish whiskey while also bringing a disruptive approach to the industry with their modern and straightforward look and feel, which goes beyond the Irish whiskey category. Find the Busker in stores. The Busker Busket. I've had it. It's very good. The commercial is great as well, so go watch it. All right. Before I want to pick conference winners, we'll get out of here because it's been a long one. But we got to talk about Mark Adams. Seems like he's a scumbag. I don't know the full story, so I don't want to say it, but he is suspended from Texas Tech for saying racist comments and allegedly spitting on someone. Um, I said a lot of coaches get a benefit of the doubt. So when they get suspended like that, I do feel like he did it. And he did blame. Hey, let me tell you something. If you say a racist comment and blame it on the Bible is a wild move. It's just an insane move. But hey, I know we alluded to some things about Terrence Shannon Jr. leaving Texas Tech, was committed to Michigan at one point, then he wasn't because of some things. Hunter, you have anything to say about Mark Adams?
All I'm gonna say is just I was right. Like it was. This is honestly as good of a take as your UNC take, in my opinion.
What, that he's an asshole?
Yeah, like I remember when I tweeted it out in the summer, and one of my coaches was even saying the same thing, like about how many people were saying, "Oh, he's a great guy." Like Hunter doesn't know what he's talking about. Like he's a stand-up guy. He's a great coach. Like he's a great person. Great, just great guy. Like Hunter doesn't know what he's talking about. Hunter's completely off base. He's so wrong about this one. Like you gotta reel him back in. I mean, where's Seth Greenberg, Jay Billis at now? Where are they at now? That's what I want to know.
No, that's true. I
Where
mean,
are the Hunter Dickinson anti
one
podcasters at now?
No, yeah, that's a thing where, yeah, like fucking these people telling us that you say things and first of all, anyone saying that a podcast ruins draft stock is the stupidest person in the world, by the way. No coach would, if you're dropping 30 a game, like the past 2 games you played, and it's like, "Oh, I don't know if I want this guy because he has a podcast," it's crazy.
Oh, well, yeah, but it's like only like the only people who are saying that are like older school guys who play for coaches who are controlling and like because Jawan's very like
Are you did
free.
you almost got me to say it.
Yeah, see, this is what you should have said, Marty. This is what you should have said here. Jawan is very free and like he's gonna let you do your own thing. It's like as long as you're like he basically just wants you to play hard, bro. As long as you're playing hard and going to class, doing well in school, and as long as you're doing all that stuff, like doing the right thing, he's gonna let you kind of do you in a sense. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't care about guys wearing headbands. Like he's like other coach like in terms of on the other side where it's coaches. I've seen coaches like not let players like oh I've heard of coaches not even let players have beards, and I'm not gonna name names here, but they want to let players have certain hairstyles. Like they want to let players wear headbands. Like
Look at you being big and not naming
yeah,
names.
yeah, I'm not gonna name names because they're fan favorites. I'm not gonna diminish, but like,
Oh, I would love to hear this off the
but
record.
nah, yeah, yeah, but like these kind of coaches, it's like yeah, like they're just like yeah, like their players are like super quiet in the media, but like they're basically being controlled, and it's like they have no voice, they have no uniqueness about them, where it's kind of they're just like robots, and it's like yeah, like oh, I like it's like the Sam Decker thing or the players from Michigan State. They're like, oh, our coach would never let us do that. It's like, well, your coach was, yeah, like I bet you could never like wear a certain hairstyle or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like, don't be mad because my coach like allows me to be my own person.
My coach talks he coached me in basketball and doesn't tell me how to be my person. Like, he lets me have a personality.
Yeah, he understands that I'm 22 years old and like I can like I'm not like in high school where I'm like 15, 16 years old. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Um,
like in the like if I was in the NBA, like nobody would be like people are their own like if you're 22 years old in the NBA, it's like you're on your own, like you're doing your own thing. Like people aren't looking at like people don't have to look after you
this is a
essentially.
new age of basketball. It's new age of sports. People, there's different ways to make money too, like getting your personality out there, learning other things besides basketball is also helpful to someone's life. It's just a fact.
I mean, and again, like people are just this is the problem with like I think this is another problem with society. Like if you really look at our podcast, like 99% of the things we say are just normal things.
It's literally just us. Like it's basically. Well, it used to be
Two and a
three.
half. We'll do two and a half. Oh
Yeah,
well,
it used to be
used to be three
four.
and a half. Then it was now it's two and a half. But
Yeah, it
it's
started at 4, then it's went to 3.5, and then now it's 2.5, but it's just, like, friends literally bullshitting about college basketball, and people are like, "Oh, there's he's he's making Hunter say things for clicks." It's like, I'm getting nothing out of clicks. This is a pure, like, well, I'm doing this because I enjoy it, and also people enjoy it, so these
oh,
people
Martin,
are
you already have a contract.
yeah, yeah, fuck them.
Well, yeah, no, it's just like the majority of the even more of the majority of things that we say are just like us talking about who we think is the best team in such and such conference. Like it's not like, but I mean, I have certain opinions about teams that like if you ask any player playing in college, they would say the same thing off air. They just are either scared to say it or they don't have the platform to say it.
Yeah, exactly, and you have a platform, so it's like people just get butthurt because other like a Goodman gets upset because his job does rely on clicks and, like, he thinks he's such a good guy. Meanwhile, he's like he'll be tweeting things about players all the time and talking shit about players, but he's such a good guy because he gives I don't even know he's like, "Oh, what's his name? Frederick on Kentucky, a platform?" It's like, "Bro, no one listens to that." So
Yeah.
you're doing nothing for that guy.
I bet Frederick doesn't get any hate podcasts.
Yeah, because no one listens to whatever their thing is called. No one has any idea who they are, so it's whatever. Um, all right, let's get out of here, but let's do quick. Who do you like in the ACC tournament?
ACC tournament, man, I do think if you put gun to my head, I I'm leaning. It's between Miami and Duke for me.
That's okay. I think we could leave it at that because it's Miami. They play each other in the second round. Like if Duke has to beat, I think Pitt or somebody else, I forget the first game, and then it's Duke and Miami. I think winner of that wins the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's probably to give me the winner. If I had to choose, I'd probably say Duke because they're playing really good. I know you're gonna love that. I'd say Duke, but Miami, the guard play has been so good, so I could totally see them winning as well.
It is crazy in the AAC. Houston is. This is me talking. They're minus 375 to win their conference tour. That's crazy. Um, Big 12. Big 12 is a crazy one. And it's hard because we keep probably saying like a lot of these favorites, but I don't know. I don't know how I'm going Texas.
No, see, I think this is Kansas right here. I think it's got Kansas written all over it. If I was going to do a sleeper, I would say um, Iowa State.
Okay. All right.
I think
I'm
I would do
sleeper. I
dark
go
horse.
in Texas winner, sleeper, West Virginia.
And it's crazy because like a sleeper, you're saying like a sleeper is like a top 15 team, but it's like that's just how good the Big 12 is. Like,
Yep. Big Ten will skip. We're both Michigan guys here.
well, I mean, I'll talk about the Big 10 real quick. Like Purdue's been playing so good. Like if you think about how good they've been playing again, like they just went and killed Illinois. So it's like hard. It's really hard to see a team beating them, which will make Michigan winning the Big 10 tournament just so crazy.
Yeah, and you should do that. You should beat Purdue
Yeah.
and Rutgers. Um, Big East. Big East. Everyone's talking about Villanova, like coming back and be. I'm not sold on them, and I'm going with Marquette to win it all.
I it's hard to follow the Big East because I try to follow the Big East. I feel like I have a semi decent pulse on it, but every time I think that happens, I just see the team like Providence just get blown out by Seton Hall. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I have no idea about this conference anymore. I don't like I don't believe in Marquette, which I mean probably means they're going to win the Big East. But if I were to pick a team, I would say like I really like UConn's makeup, but I don't know what's been going on with them. So
I feel like they're a team though where like obviously they're probably one of the favorites to win it, but like they were so hot in the beginning of the year. Everyone's like, this team's unbelievable. Then they kind of sucked for a little bit and they've got a little forgotten about. So it's like, I don't know. But I think it's just Creighton, Marquette, or UConn. I don't find anyone else win that. Xavier Fremantle out for the year too. That hurts them.
yeah, oh, that's really bad. Yeah, I want to go with UConn. I just because of like the makeup of the team, I really do have high hopes for them.
Um, all right, that's the show.
Oh, SEC.
SEC. I forgot about the SEC. I'm going Arkansas, and I'm so sick of them. They're pissing me off more than you guys. I don't even know how they're still like. I don't know how they have like a bid that easy. They had good early wins, but I don't know how. I think if I'm not taking Arkansas, I'm going with Kentucky,
Who won the regular season for SEC?
Alabama.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Uh, I'm doubling down with my Tennessee take.
They've been they've been Tennessee was
Oh
home.
no, never mind. No, sorry, I forgot that Ziegler tore his ACL. Never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind. I will go with the favorite Alabama.
I'm going with Kentucky, even though Texas A&M
I thought you just were with
won.
Arkansas.
I'm going Arkansas. I am. I'm Arkansas, but like if
Is that like a Michigan pick essentially?
yeah,
Same
that's a
as a
Michigan
Michigan pick.
pick. Even though I truly do believe you're going to win, I'm not even kidding. I really do believe you're going to win. Texas A&M went 15-3 in the SEC.
15-3.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh my gosh, that is
Um,
crazy.
all
That's,
right, well that's the
and they
show.
lost it.
Yeah, Alabama went 16-2.
Damn.
Um, that's a show. We have an interview right now with Coach Mike Brey of Notre Dame for one more game, probably. It was an awesome interview. Recruited Hunter, knows Hunter very well. Has a funny Bosco moment in it. And yeah, everyone go listen. We will be back. We'll be back Thursday after Michigan plays Rutgers, and we will talk about it'll either be the end of Hunter season or they'll be playing Purdue. That's the best part about March. We'll know literally how his season is looking at about 2:30 on Thursday. So we will see you guys then. All right, enjoy the interview. All right, welcome back to Roundball podcast with an absolute gem of a guest. One of my favorite coaches. I'm a Duke fan, so I've had to play against you nonstop. But and I consider myself part of the team. But I am talking about Coach Mike Brey from Notre Dame. What's going on, my man?
Good morning, fellas. Great to be with you. I'm down here in Greensboro, and we're going to try and get moving a little bit. We haven't had a great regular season, but you get to the conference tournament and you have a clean slate. So we have Virginia Tech tomorrow evening, who's I think a really good team, and but this still beats a real job, brother. Coaching still beats a real job.
Hey, Coach, Georgetown made it even more of an improbable run a couple years ago, so you guys got a chance for sure.
You're right. I've tried to channel them. I talked to our guys a little bit when we were in the Big East. Remember Connecticut's run, with Kemba Walker, going all the way through. They went all the way through and won the national championship. I'm not greedy. After the regular season we had, brother, I'm just trying to sneak into Dayton like we did last year.
You and me both. You and me both.
Yeah, both you guys.
We're in the same boat, Hunter. We're in the same boat.
Same position, but even what you just said, you guys are playing Virginia Tech, and I want to put this to rest. People say the ACC is like down in the past year or two. I think like Virginia Tech's at the bottom of the conference right now, and I think they're unfortunate with some injuries in the beginning, but like. Do you think the ACC is down? I think it's a very strong conference this
year. I think we're solid, and really, you make your bed. I mean, the last 2 years we have not been, the conference that certainly the Big Ten is. With the Big Ten trending toward 10 or 11 bids, it reminds me of the one year we were in the Big East, and the Big East got 11 bids. You guys were young then and maybe don't remember that. South Florida slid in as the 11th bid. And every other power conference was so pissed off, like everyone's pissed off at the Big Ten now because they're going to steal 11 bids. And but where we have not done our job the last 2 years as a conference, we've not done our job in the non-league schedule. And when you don't have any Power 5 wins non-league by January 1, then you go in, and when you're mixing those there's no power. Whereas in the Big Ten, and Hunter's got a great example this past week, the Big Ten, you always have a shot for a great win. I mean, every night is a chance for a resume win. Our league has not done that because the last 2 years, because we have not done the job in the non-league. And so where I think we got good basketball, and I agree with you, Virginia Tech is way better than their record and scare me to death. You got to do the job in November and December so your net is up and you have more quality chances for wins in league play. The Big Ten is an unbelievable example of that nightly. The Big East was when I was in it. We have not been that, and kind of you are where you are.
You missed the Big East a little bit?
I do. I really do miss the Big East. I
That Big
mean,
East was like one
That
of the
was
best
crazy. Oh my
conferences to
god.
watch ever. Like, I wish all those teams kind of still were together.
I mean, going to the Garden for the tournament, and Hunter and I are East Coast guys, traveling up and down I-95 and playing in
I'm from
Philly.
New York, so I'm telling you, that was
St. John's and here's an example. When we used to go to the Big East tournament, you'd get out in a hotel you had in New York. I'm in a hotel in Greensboro and I got a Waffle House behind me. That's about it now. That's about all I got.
That's luxury over there too.
That's luxury, man.
No, Marty, he brought up a good point though, because it's like I remember Ohio State. Ohio State's like I think the 12 seed out of 13 in the conference, and when we beat them, they were like a quad one win at home versus us, and so that's a great point of like I think having that non-conference schedule. I mean, the ACC Big Ten Challenge is always great because it gives you a guaranteed pretty decent non-conference opponent, but like he said, like even Ohio State was a quad one win at the time for us, and they're the second to worst team in the Big Ten in terms of record.
No, it's a great point. And I used to say when I was in the Big East, you'll always, and back then we were playing 16 league games, and this thing has grown to 18 and now 20, all for our league TV networks. They need product. So we're going to keep playing. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 22 someday. So they have more product and more inventory. But I used to say, hey, you can always play your way in your league schedule. That has not been the case in the ACC the last 2 years, but in the Big Ten, it certainly has been the case, Hunter. Your point of, and the Big East, and I used to say this, and this is how you survived as a coach. And the Big Ten coaches can say this. Hey, if I get to the top 8, you mean I get a bid? Because if you get bids, they keep extending your contracts. If you don't get bids, they send you back to coach at the Math JV, Hunter. That's how it works. And how I got my start. We both got our start in Hyattsville. But the Big Ten, you can say that if you're a Big Ten coach. You can say, well, if I finish 9th, I'm getting in, man. And the ACC, we've been like, hey, 4, 5, 4. Now it's a tough league, and guys start losing their jobs. And so so it's a and it swings back and forth. The Big Ten then will be down in the ACC. ACC will have 10, but non-league wins generate everything then as you move into league play.
Speaking of just coaching jobs in general, first of all, I'm 28, so you've been the coach of Notre Dame basically my entire life. And it's like you are Notre Dame in this. Well, first of all, you're getting the shot after your last game, which was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And second, there's retirement, but you might not be done coaching. How is that? You don't have to tell us what the hell's going on, but how has that been of you just being like the focus kind of like coaching?
Well, I did think, and Hunter and I go way back. We're old DeMatha guys. I had 23 seasons. And I think at some point, there's a shelf life. And I just said, I think Notre Dame needs a new voice. Now, that's not to say I'm not, don't want to stop coaching and go play golf every day. I mean, I still have a lot of energy and it's one of those things where I really want to analyze it this spring. It's interesting. I've never really been a free agent. I've always been tied to Notre Dame. All of a sudden, the last month, I've been a free agent. And it's interesting the inquiries you get, and so I have a very open mind to coaching again and want to look at it. Do you do TV for a year and then maybe come back to coaching? Things like that are all things I'd like to digest. Over the next month, but I love being in the gym with guys, man, and connecting with young people and doing my thing. And I think I would really miss that if I didn't do that a little more.
Being a free agent, let me tell you, it's got to be like it's just everyone telling you how much they love you and like, oh, you guys
Oh,
want me over there? Like it's
yeah.
a nice little ego boost a little bit.
No,
Marty kind of felt that. Marty kind of felt that because he was kind of going through some contract negotiations with Barstool, so he was a free agent for a little
I
bit.
was I was a free agent for a little bit, and people were like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, you want me over there too?" It's kind of feels a
yeah.
little good.
No, it's kind of, Hunter was recruited in high school. I think, Hunter, how many official visits did you make? We used to tease you about, you and I used to kid about this.
I
You
took
made 12.
technically 9, but I took 2 to Notre Dame, so technically to 8 schools.
Oh, you
Yeah,
took
you
2 to
met,
Notre Dame?
actually, Hunter Dickinson came to Notre Dame 3
Yeah, 3
times.
times. Yeah, 3
He
Holy,
times.
came to Notre Dame 3 times. Hey, I did a great job, Marty. Huh? I did
you
a hell of a
did?
job without.
You did a hell of a job. Wait, tell us a little bit
I
about
did a hell
how
of
is,
a job getting him. No, man. We we
I
how is
we
the
enjoyed
were
the
recruiting
Catholics,
process with
coach.
Hunter?
I was with the Catholics for too long.
Yeah, he did the Catholic thing probably a little long, and I showed up at his house at Thanksgiving. One of the great recruiting story is I show up at his house at Thanksgiving, and he really didn't know. I kind of did it through mom and his brother, and he comes walking in with his girlfriend, and she has a Michigan shirt on, and I go, I'm out of here. It's time to leave. I grabbed a beer. Mom gave me a beer. I put it in my pocket. I said, I'm going back to South Bend. I love your
Damn, all
family,
right.
man.
Let's see how
Tell
it
them
is,
hello.
Hunter.
Great people. Great people. um, but who do you, Hunter, do you know who you play yet first?
Rutgers.
You got
Rutgers is
Rutgers.
first game.
That whole league, man. I mean,
That's the 8-9 matchup. Rutgers,
Yeah,
Michigan.
that's the 8-9 matchup.
our game
It's
with
good though.
Rutgers in Dayton last year in the first round, that double overtime
Oh,
game,
it's
was one
insane.
of the most. I mean, I didn't know what to expect out of the first 4, and I'm thinking like maybe people won't. It was rocking. The Rutgers people were there, our people were there, and the game was unbelievable. Then we flew all night to San Diego, got up and played on fumes against Alabama, and the Rutgers is really good, and I love their coach, as Hunter knows. He's really in the Big East. They struggled to find a coach. I must have coached against 10 Rutgers coaches in my tenure. It was a
Yeah.
revolving door. They found the right guy in Coach Peichel, and man, is he delivering.
No,
Yeah.
he's just like New Jersey. I've met him a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
times. He embraces that. But I gotta ask, how is Duke and Coach K? That's just like,
Yeah.
let me tell you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make myself talk to that man one day. I'm gonna make Hunter text him just like out of the blue, like, hey, just come on the podcast for 10 minutes. Oh,
We need to get him on this show. He got time on his hands now. We need to get his ass on this show, Hunter. He's got all kinds of time on his hands. I was really fortunate in that I left DeMatha High School in 1987, and he wanted a young guy that was going to be there a while, not a guy that was going to come in and try and get a head job in a year. And so I was really fortunate. And I went down there, and of course, Danny Ferry was there at the time, and Quinn Snyder. Those were the captains of the team when I got there in 87. And I'll never forget him saying, I don't want anybody coming who doesn't want to be a head coach. I'm going to let you get your hands on everything to be ready. And he did do that for me and Tommy Amaker and Chris Collins and Jeff Capel and all of us. And I felt really prepared then when I went to Delaware. But, when I was there, it was Hurley, Leitner, Hill. It was
pretty good team.
when that group traveled at the hotels, it was kind of like the Beatles. It was, Hunter, you can appreciate this. We'd play at Cole Fieldhouse when I was at Duke. We'd play at Cole, and outside the locker room, it's so pissed off Gary Williams and the Maryland people. There'd be 300 people waiting outside the Duke locker room at Maryland. And at Clemson, we had to back the bus down. It was they were rock star status dudes. It was crazy, but it was an unbelievable experience for me, and certainly learned a lot.
I want to ask you this. We've asked a lot of coaches this too, but like since you've been around for, again, Notre Dame 23 years, just there, how different has your coaching style and recruiting have to be because of this NIL nonsense where it's like a lot of these kids, like you used to recruit them and you're done. Like they're there
Yeah.
they're going to the NBA or it's basically they're going to be there for 4 years. But now it's like we're telling Hunter too, like you recruit them and then you have to recruit them again just to stay on the team, right?
Well, it really is part of the equation now, and I think Hunter has done a great job. I've seen some of the stuff you've done. It's very entrepreneurial. There's an educational side to this, man. It's not all, a bag of cash in your locker, man. Thanks, and I'm sure there's some of that, but I know Dane Goodwin and Nate Lashevsky, for me, like Hunter, they have had to, make relationships and do things and now it's great they got compensated. I think they've learned a lot. I think Hunter does stuff that's brilliant stuff, like and so taking advantage of the rule to do it, I think's great. Where it gets a little warped now in recruiting of the high school kid is, and I don't blame the kid or the parents because they've seen what's allowed. They ask maybe more about NIL than they do some things that maybe should be maybe a little more important or as important as far as how we're going to develop them and campus life and hey, maybe even a degree, so that's changed. The transfer portal, obviously, with kids being able to leave and go right away. So there was a coach at Duke that had a line back in the day, back in the 60s, Vic Bubas, way back. He said, you got to get them. You got to keep them. You got to coach them. And that is really the theme that I've tried to live by. And you're hoping you can keep them. If the guys that aren't playing, instead of jumping to the portal, can you show them a future and show them, hey, this is my plan for you. Hang in there with us. I've been lucky, able to keep kids because a young man is maybe 2 years into a Mendoza business degree at Notre Dame. And even though he's unhappy and he's pissed off at me and his dad's pissed off because he's not playing enough, the guy that he's playing behind leaves, and now he starts for 2 years and he gets the Notre Dame degree. Remember the kid I had, Matt Farrell? Matt Farrell was a tough little guard I had. I used to say,
blasted that kid.
Tough dude. And his dad was even tougher up there in Jersey. I said, my first 2 years, Matt Farrell's dad had a hit on me in New Jersey because he wasn't playing. And then he started for 2, and now I'm in the will. I think I'm in the family will. So it's all been forgotten, so it's
no joke, Coach. I just met him like last year at the bar in Jersey.
That's where you would meet him.
I was sitting down. He was right next to me. And he was like, Marty, I'm like, are you Farrell from Notre Dame? He goes, yeah. I was like, holy shit.
He's the best, man. He's a rough and tumble Jersey I-95 dude. Anyways, it's a new dynamic, keeping your group together but it's still fun, man. It's still, we're going to go down here and go practice and being in the gym with our guys, man, it's energizing.
Yeah, no, Coach, you talked about it a little bit, growing up in the DMV, going into DeMatha, playing for Morgan Wooten. How did playing for Morgan Wooten inspire you to do this coaching thing?
It's a great question, Hunter. My parents were both teachers, so I was around educators, but then being with Coach Wooten and Hunter and I are both Hyattsville products, we're very, very proud of that. I started going to Coach Wooten's camp at St. John's High School when I was 10 years old. Metropolitan Area Basketball School was the only camp in the Washington area. And my mom started letting me go there. And so Coach Wooten lecturing at the camp from 10 years till I was 14, you talk about brainwashed, man. And I want to play for this guy. And he put the spell on me, man. And then the DeMatha guys were the counselors, Hunter. They were the counselors that coached us. My first coach at the Metropolitan camp was Adrian Dantley. How about that? And, of all things, and you end up being the Notre Dame coach, Adrian, one of our all-time best, but you'd be around those guys and I wasn't Catholic, but I wanted to go from Rockville, Maryland, which in the 70s, Hunter, was you commuted from Alexandria, but back in the 70s, that was unheard of. So I went from Rockville to Hyattsville, and I just wanted to go, and my parents were really supportive. And then playing for them and being around them, and then coming back and working for them. I was a history teacher at DeMatha when I graduated from GW, and I coached the JV. And Coach Wooten had a great line to me. I was going to be a grad assistant at GW, and he said, "You need to have your own team if you want to coach." I was 23. And he said, "You need to have your own team. You're going to have the JV. You got to be responsible for them." And it was an amazing experience. At 23 years old, I had my own team. And then I helped him, and I was with him. So, as Hunter knows, and Marty, I know, he was the ultimate educator, teacher, positive guy, communicator. And so playing for him and then working for him, I mean, it was the Harvard Law School, Hopkins Medical School of coaching, communication training, and I miss him. We lost him a couple years ago, but one of the great guys. And Hunter, you got to know him, right? And had a relationship with him before he passed. He was always walking in the gym. He was always walking up there, right, in the gym.
Yeah, he was always getting his laps in with his wife. Marty, he coached for like 45 years, and they said they never heard him curse one time.
Really?
No,
as a coach, that's very impressive.
He never even raised his voice.
No, he
that's
was.
That's when you're more scared of a guy that doesn't raise his voice. And
right.
It's like he's more disappointed in you, or like something like that as a player,
Here's how he would do it at halftime. He'd come in and go, "Hunter Dickinson, I'm looking at the stats here.
I've heard this 3 times."
Right? Marty needs to hear this, right, Hunter? Hunter Dickinson, you have big fella. You have 1 rebound. If you get 1 more this next half, you'll have 2 for the game. And that's how he gets you. To gotta be like,
yeah. God. Like he's like killing you with almost kindness, but also insulting you. It's like that would make you want to play harder than the guy is.
That's about as raw as he got, and I was just so blessed to be around him, man. And then talk to him a lot through my coaching career at Delaware. He'd come up a lot to games, and anytime I recruited in DC, and I certainly, everybody was going through 4313 Madison Street a lot. They got a few players there, so we were always going through there, and I'd always have lunch with them and reminisce. So just a gentleman, a teacher, an educator, and his players that they all really were touched and influenced by him. He grew us all up. He kind of started helping us become men.
That's cool though. I feel like everyone you always need somebody when you're that young to show you the ropes a little bit, because you always think you know what you're doing when you're that young. Like, oh, I know everything, and then when you have someone like that, it definitely is definitely cool. I had actually something about. Keep going. No, you're good.
I was going to say Hunter had a great coach in Mike Jones, who I got to deal with tomorrow night.
Yeah, he's getting it done at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, he's getting it done at Virginia. He coached him at DeMatha, and really a very, very gifted coach, as Hunter knows. He'll be a head coach very soon. He's really, really good. And I was kind of the headhunter for him to get the Virginia Tech job. Funny story, Mike Young that calls me and goes, "Hey, tell me about Mike Jones." Everybody tells me. I said, "Well, I don't know if you can get him, but he is unbelievable." And so I called Mike Jones then. I said, "Mike, look," he's, "Well, I got, Mike had USA basketball. I like my niche." I said, "Mike, I'm just saying you probably should listen." A week later, I see it on the ticker. I was like, "Well, we put those 2 guys together. Now I got to deal with it.
Yeah, so anyway, you created that yourself.
Coach, you're responsible for the downfall of DeMatha.
You know what? I look back, like Tom Ponton said, "Way to go, Mike. Way to go." I said, well, my man did deserve a payday. And he certainly got one in Blacksburg, and he deserved it. But yeah, Hunter, I may be they get on me about that.
Coaching at Notre Dame, though, obviously, because we talk about this with Hunter too, because Michigan has a lot of things just academics. It's hard to get everybody to go there. Notre Dame is this amazing school, but the academics are very hard to get people to. You can't just pluck someone and be like, "Hey, you're coming here." they got to have a lot to go with it. Is that been difficult to recruit people there? And also, like, obviously you going somewhere else, it might be a lot easier where it's like, hey,
Well,
we have this money and we don't care what you have. Has it been that difficult? Because I don't feel like people understand that as a coach of Notre Dame, because they think of it as like this prestigious school. Why wouldn't want people to go there? But
well, I think it's a challenge, and Michigan, Juwan Howard has the same thing. Our pool to pick from in high school is smaller than almost many of the other institutions. So, you got to really earmark who you got. I've kind of looked at it more as a positive, where it's almost identified the kids that are really going to be the right fit at the end of the day, and understand that school's hard, and sometimes we got to adjust our practice based on a class and stuff like that. And we do what we have to do. The transfer thing has helped. It gives us another pool of players to go pick from, because not everybody in the high school pool, you take the high school top 100, there's going to be a lot of kids in that top 100 just not going to be a fit. Can they play for us? Hell yeah, they can play for us. They're just not going to be a fit. School's hard, and you got to work at it. And we can't be chasing guys around and checking classrooms. And come on, man, you're a man. Handle your. I tell guys, handle your shit. And I want to coach you in basketball. I don't want to be chasing you around asking you about if you turned the paper in. Grow up and let me coach you. And for the most part, we've really had that, and it's really been cool. But it comes with the territory. Not everybody's going to be a fit for a Notre Dame, for a Michigan. And but I have found, though, since there was such a focus on graduation rates and initial eligibility, this generation of young people are more academically prepared than maybe in the mid-90s when I was coaching at Delaware, because there have been some benchmarks kids have to hit. And also, I think parents of this next generation are really on top of these kids about handling their academics. Keith, Keith Stevens, who coaches Takeover, where Hunter is a product of, he and I have talked about that a lot in the last 5 or 6 years. The generation of great DC players back in the 80s and 90s, 70s, none of them had any grades. Nobody went to school. Now, I don't know if they had great home situations either. The generation of kids coming through Team Takeover in DC now, they all have handled their business. And so it's been really neat to see how there are more recruitable guys now, I think, in this generation for a Michigan and a Notre Dame.
I'll give Hunter credit. He goes to every class, this guy. I'm
No,
like,
he
oh,
gets
I was like, bro, you just played a game. He's like, yeah, I got to go to class. I'm like, wow, you really do go to class.
Yeah.
Hunter, are you in business?
No, communications.
Your communications. Yeah. Well, this is a good foray for you, right? This program. Yeah.
I got to ask you this very random question. Is there a random guy who's texting you all the time? His name's Rico Bosco. After like games, is he sending people? Are you getting like a random text after you win, like clovers and shit?
Those are shamrocks, man. Shamrocks, and Irish are shamrocks.
All right, I gotta explain this. There's a guy.
I get a lot of random texts. Yeah, my number's been out there too long, probably, like Hunter's.
All right, that makes me so happy, because this guy at work, his name's Rico Bosco. He says his white whale is Mike Brey, like to talk to you. And I'm like, Mike, and I texted him today. I was like, I'm talking to Mike Brey today, and like, because you're one of my favorite coaches too. But he's like, oh, I text him all the time. I was like, I don't think he probably has so many people texting him after games, and he just says you click back like another shamrock.
I put a shamrock back.
It makes
tell
me
him
so happy.
Where he live in Jersey, New York? Where's he live?
He lives in Staten Island.
All right. Well, tell him when I see him on the Jersey Shore, he owes me a shot of whiskey. Yep. For always supplying. He goes
to DJs in the Jersey Shore. So
okay, yeah, I know where that is.
yeah. I don't think you go over there anymore. But
no, I'm a Delaware Beach guy. Hunter used to be a Delaware Beach guy a little bit.
Yeah, no, I used to go to
Yeah,
Rehoboth like every summer.
yeah, you
I
did
used to play
Rehoboth all the
baseball
time.
there.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
my super early
I
time there.
still, I coached at the University of Delaware, so I had a place there for a while. So I head back that way. I'm a Delaware Beach guy. Don't tell Rico that.
Yeah, you'll have a guy stalking you in Rehoboth now. Hunt, you got anything? I got one more.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for joining
Got
us.
it.
Yes, thank you, Coach.
It's
Appreciate it.
been
Got
again.
it, H.
So could be your last game Tuesday. Could be, or you can make
Yeah,
a run.
yeah.
You have no idea. Does it feel weird, or you have made that decision where you're like, I know it's my time to let somebody else be Notre Dame basketball, and it's also like, or it's just like you're enjoying every last second at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think since I kind of made the announcement, you're kind of riding it out, enjoying it. I love that it's fitting we're in Greensboro. We won the 2015 ACC tournament here in our second year in the league. Jaron Grant, who's a DeMatha product, who Hunter knows well, was the player of the MVP of the tournament. Pat Connaughton was on that team. We have really good Greensboro memories. We're 5-2 here. We've been pretty good in this tournament. And maybe it's only fitting that, my last stop is Greensboro, the place of maybe the greatest memory for me, winning the ACC championship in 15. So, yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. No stress. We'll get through it and try and make a run here, and then evaluate the future.
Well, Coach, you've been the man. Thank you so much for joining. And then I can't believe you had to go to Hunter's house, and he just you see a Michigan shirt on him. It's disgusting. This guy.
Oh, it's great. Well, I was also rooting for the Bills a lot, and your Buffalo. I thought about you a lot as these Buffalo Bills have become such a great team. They're such Buffalo Bill fans, and love his family. I love his whole family. Tell him hello. Great to be with you guys. Hunter, good luck in Chicago, and we're going to try and keep rolling in Greensboro.
For sure.
I'm also going to make Hunter and you just text Coach K being like, listen, you got time. This guy needs to talk to you, all right?
Yeah, he can get him. He can recruit him. He definitely has time, man. He's got all kinds of time on his hands.
That's what I
Guys,
said,
we'll
Coach.
see you. I'm going to head to practice. Good to see you.
See you, Coach. Thank you.